Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. I'm Michael Gracia, and I have a great show planned for tonight. Now, you guys know, hello to Dylan. I'm doing great tonight. Thanks for tuning in. As you guys know, I normally have a lot more people in the comic world on the show. You know, the show's called Get in Tune. I do a lot of stuff with cartoons. I'm a comic artist. I'm an animator. I love cartoons, but there are some days, and my guest today still falls in the realm of comics. He just does it differently than what you guys are accustomed to, and I love the opportunity to bring on artists who work in so many different mediums that are doing things differently than the traditional, in the sense, comic methods. Now, as you guys know, I got to work on this book, Zorro's Exploits, from Bold Venture Press, which you can find on Amazon. And tonight I got the guy who did this cover right here coming on. This beautiful cover we're gonna talk about, as well as so many other pieces of art that you're gonna get to see tonight. So let me bring on Francisco Silva. Hey, Francisco,
Hello, Michael.
how you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, anytime, man. I am such a fan of your work. Um,
Thank you.
and like I said, like this cover, when I saw it, I thought it was gorgeous. Um,
Thank you.
and like I knew of your work because of the Zorro books,
Yeah.
of this, and I've heard your name before. To be honest with you, I just didn't know where I heard it,
Mm.
and um, I have the other on my bookshelf, the first Zorro book that they put out, and you're in that book as well, I believe, and
Yeah.
as one of the illustrators. Um, and I was like, man, I know his, and I've seen it, like, I guess on the internet or in other things that I've read, and I'm like, man, who is this guy? He's so damn good. And then when I found out you were the cover artist, I'm like, oh, I gotta, meet you. I gotta talk with you
Yeah. Yeah.
because your stuff is is unbelievable.
Thank
Um, you're very welcome. So before we get into everything, just can you tell the audience a little bit about you? You know, like who you are, uh, how you got into art, who were some of your inspirations, things like that.
you. Okay. Okay. So, my name is Francisco Silva. I'm 34 years old. I was born in Portugal. I live in Portugal in a city called Oporto, which is north of Portugal.
Okay.
Since my childhood, I always loved painting and writing, and I always felt the need to express myself through art. And I also have had a family that encouraged me to do that, especially my grandparents,
Hmm.
which were a great influence on me and to pursue my dreams as an artist and a writer. So I studied visual arts. Then I studied cinema with focus on screenplay and creative writing. I also studied design and marketing. Oh, I'm always studying. um, so my first illustration job came in 2011. I was finishing college, and one of my teachers, my creative writing teacher, he was about to publish a book about a Portuguese poet called Guerra Junqueiro. And he was doing his biography, and he was about to publish a book about him, and
Hmm.
he invited me to do the illustrations. It was a very beautiful poem because it was very simple. It was a story about a man and his dog and their relationship, a friendly relationship.
Yeah.
That was my first big job of illustration.
That's awesome. So who were some of your inspirations? Like who
Okay,
inspired you? Like that you looked at?
I have some Portuguese artists. One of the main inspirations is Roque Gameiro. It's called Roque Gameiro. It was a Portuguese artist from the late 90s,
Okay.
and he did some wonderful jobs for literature, classic literature, Portuguese classics,
Okay.
and he used photography, and then he painted over the photography.
Interesting. You know. And can you just say his name again? It was a little hard for me to hear.
Roque Gameiro.
Okay, I'm gonna have to have you write that down and send it to
Yes,
me,
I'll write. Yes.
because I'll be honest with you. One of the things that I love is number one, is learning about new artists. I think that's fantastic. I love looking at other work, but like you said, you're in Portugal. I'm here in New York. Um, there's a difference in our way we're educated
Yes.
in art, or just in general in education. But as artists, anyone outside the U.S. tends to have um, more of a European training,
Mm.
where you get more traditional. Your anatomy is
Yes.
completely different. It's I just want to. I'm sorry. Let me just finish this. We had it
Sure.
like that back in the early 1900s,
Hmm.
and I would say sometime by the 1960s, 70s, things started changing for us, and people weren't learning that traditional European uh, education anymore. Like the way, we would have stuff and you would hear about famous artists who could, they may have been comic artists, but they were able to paint amazingly. You take someone like Frank Frazetta, he was someone like
Yes.
that. But
Fantastic.
when things changed in America here. And I had a couple of friends who went in college and studied in Europe for a year, and they came back and their art just blew me. It was completely different because they had such an education that
Hmm.
we aren't giving here in America. Um,
Understand.
and so that's another reason I like learning about and looking at artists from other countries, is because I know their education is different from how we were educated here. Now, I do apologize. You were gonna make a comment on that.
Though I was going to say that okay, I understand what you're saying. I have the traditional way of learning how to draw, and I have those traditional classes of drawing and art. But then I also noticed, I think, a gap between the traditional and the nowadays digital,
Hmm.
because in my experience, and looking for my way, I started to do something much more traditional, and now I tend to do more digital. And sometimes I use traditional techniques, but the final product is much more digital than traditional.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I tend to work, in both styles, but for me, being a cartoonist, I just tend to pencil out some sketches and just, kind of, it's like my thumbnails or my ideas, if you will, and then I just take a photo with my phone and airdrop them to my computer,
Yeah.
and then I go over it all in digital, whether it's on my iPad or on my computer in Photoshop or something. So I technically, I would say, all digital these days, outside that initial sketch. But
Mhm.
you tend to actually still paint, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So
Um,
you were explaining to me that this cover right here was individual oil paintings that you kind of
Yes,
put together in Photoshop.
yes, yes. It was done in three different ways. It was a sketch, pencil sketch in a sheet of paper. Then it was painted with oil, and then that oil piece was digitalized and worked in Photoshop.
Nice. Now, how big did you work for the oil painting?
Traditionally,
Yeah, but I'm saying,
um,
how big would you say you made the canvas?
how big was the canvas?
Yeah.
Maybe an A2. Here in Portugal, we say A2. I don't know how to say that. Um, three times.
Oh, 3 times the size of this, would you say?
Yes, yes. For example,
So this book is like 6 by 9.
yeah,
So nine's 27 and 3 and 6, 18 by 27, something like that.
yes, something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have the original with me because I sold the original.
That's that's great.
Yes, if I had, I will show.
Yeah. No, well, I noticed you have the Marvel Zorro comics behind you up on your wall.
Yes.
Is that the whole run?
No, just some.
Oh, just I got the whole run in a box underneath my drawing table
Oh, okay.
of that Marvel, which is based on this version here, the
Yeah,
90s, the 90s Zorro, which I was a huge fan of. This,
me
I
too.
mean,
Me too.
I'm a fan of almost all interpretations of Zorro, but
Yeah.
this was like, for those who've never seen it, this aired here in America on the Family Channel, which doesn't exist anymore. I think it's now like Freeform here in America. Um, but this was almost, it was kind of a toned down version from the Guy Williams. It wasn't as, it wasn't about killing and stuff. It was very, I don't want to refer to it as like an Adam West Batman, but it was kind of like, because it wasn't that campy, but it was toned down into a bit of a much more friendlier version, you know.
And it was actually my first introduction to Zorro.
Really
Yes, I was very
interesting.
little. I used to watch the show here in Portugal with my grandparents and my brother.
Hmm.
My grandparents were big fans of Zorro. They were more like Tyrant Power. They were, okay, this is the best Zorro, but they all watched the family channel Zorro with me.
Yeah, no, that's great. My
Yeah.
father actually was a Zorro fan growing up, and he was a fan of the Guy Williams.
Yes.
So that's what my introduction was into it,
Mhm.
was watching like reruns of that with
Yeah.
my father. And then on my own, I saw the Tyrone Power, and I saw I mean, like, I think I've seen basically every interpretation, including the animated versions, and I got a
Mhm.
lot of them on DVD in my closet. you know, I have the whole Guy Williams run. I have the whole run of well, it was the Family Channel, but was it New World? New World was the production company, I think, on that Zorro.
Okay.
I
Yes,
think was
New World
yeah.
Zorro.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
yes.
for this one here, I think
In
that
New
was
World.
New World
Yes.
was the production company on that. So okay, so you grew up enjoying Zorro, and I'm gonna share the screen. I just want to show some of your work as we talk. We don't have to talk specifically about that work at the moment,
Okay.
um, but I just want to talk about a few things. So let me get this back up here, and there we go. And let's just go through this. So this piece
Mhm.
here, this one's called Devil's Doubloons. Is this supposed to be a Zorro piece or something else? Just out of curiosity.
This is a very important piece to me. I'm
Hmm.
going to explain why.
Okay.
Because this was the first cover I did for Bold Venture Press.
Oh, okay.
It was the first thing I did officially for Zorro Productions. It
Nice.
was this cover for this book. It has an interesting story because As I said, I've always been a Zorro fan,
Mhm.
and one of my childhood dreams was to contribute to the Zorro legacy.
And
But
that was one of mine as well, and that's why I'm thrilled I got to work on that book.
yes, I understand completely. And then I thought that it was just a dream, but it was in 2019. I was searching for Johnston McCulley's complete works of Zorro that Bold Venture had published,
Mhm.
and they have already published everything, and they also published Zorro and the Little Devil by Peter David. And then
I
I
just
decided,
bought that book. There was a pulp con they put on in New Jersey about a month ago maybe. And
yes,
before I left, I bought a bunch of books. I'm a big Peter David fan.
yeah,
And I own other books of his, like prose books that aren't his comics that he worked on. Although his run on Hulk in the '90s was one of my favorite versions of the Hulk.
mhm,
But I own some other prose books. He has a book called, I think it's called Artful or Dodger. Where is
mm,
it? Yeah, it's called Artful, and he tried to write it in the style of Dickens. I think it was.
uh-huh.
Who did Oliver Twist? It was Dickens, or I don't remember.
Oliver Twist was Charles Dickens.
Yeah. He wanted, so he tried to write it from the. It's like the point of view of the Artful Dodger from the story, and he tried to write in a Dickens style. So I picked up
Fantastic.
that book, which is fantastic.
Yes.
And then when I found out he did a Zorro book, I'm like, I
Yeah.
gotta read a Zorro book, know.
Yeah. And yes, the Bold Venture had already published the Peter David book,
Mm,
and I was reading about it, and I decided to, okay, I'm going to send them because they asked the submission guidelines, and
mhm.
I decided to try my luck. I'm going to send them something, and I wrote a story and did some illustrations for that story. It was not a Zorro story, but it was a story set in old California.
Okay.
And I sent them, and a few weeks later, I received a reply from Rich Harvey
Mm,
telling me that, okay, we like the story, but we are about to publish something very similar, and that is works by Johnston McCulley. And I said, oh, okay, didn't know. But he also said, would you like to try to do the cover for that story? This is going to be a book by Johnston McCulley and owned by Zorro Productions. And when I heard that, I said, yes, of course.
yeah.
That was my dream. Okay. And oh, I have the opportunity to do this. And I really did. Okay, I did the cover. I sent the cover to Bold Venture, and it was approved by Bold Venture and Zorro Productions. And okay, this was the first artwork I did, and I will be forever thankful to Audrey Parenti and Rich Harvey for giving me this opportunity. Um, and it's very important. It's a very important artwork because I thought that okay, that this is it. This is
Mm,
the only art cover that I'm going to do, and I'm okay. But
yeah.
a few weeks later, they mailed me again, asking me if I was interested in doing two more covers for this collection, and I was
Huh.
amazed, of course.
That's awesome, man. I mean, listen, your
Yeah.
work is gorgeous. So I mean, I would have jumped at the chance too. I listen. I just got like a total of I think 10 illustrations in that, and I just couldn't be happier. Zorro is my favorite fictional
Yeah.
character.
I understand.
in my top like 5. And and my dream was always to work on him. So
Yeah,
I've had
I
that.
understand you.
Yeah. But
Yes.
in addition to Zorro,
Hmm.
because we could talk about Zorro all night and just make this a Zorro show, guaranteed. But let's talk about a few other things.
Yes.
Like me, you're into like classical literature, like the Musketeers
Yeah.
and Robin Hood and things. I love all that stuff. Anything that's
Mm.
mythology related,
Yeah.
classic literature, all that is like my wheelhouse. I love that. And now I don't think you sent me any Musketeer work to show.
Musketeers, I have here. I
Okay,
can
let me give
show.
you the screen and you can show it because you wrote and illustrated a series of children's
Yes.
books about the Musketeers. So if you
Yes.
have them next to you, I'd love to take a look at them.
Okay. Okay. I'm going just to make a context. Okay, these are. This is like a prequel to the Alexandre Dumas Three Musketeers,
Okay.
and I have 5 books.
Oh wow, those are nice
Yes.
sized.
This is the first one, the second, the third, the fourth, and the
Wow.
fifth. The hero of these stories is actually Richelieu, who is the villain
Yeah.
in the in the Three Musketeers. But here is like Anakin Skywalker
Mhm.
in the prequels, and this is aimed for teenagers.
Okay.
Two of these books, this one and this is the fifth, and this is the third one. These 2 books are recommended by the Portuguese National Reading Plan.
Wow.
Yes, they were
Congratulations on that.
recommended. Thank you. Because it's for kids to read in school. Because I try to impart in these stories the values of honor, friendship, and to each of the story, of course, it's adventure, it's a swashbuckler, but also to leave a message.
Yeah.
And that was what I was aiming to. The books, this is an ongoing project. This is an ongoing project.
So you're not done with it. The
Um,
series is still you're still working on it.
yes, but I'm going to change the publishing house. Going to be different.
Okay.
And it's going to be the image is going to be renewed.
Okay. All right. That sounds cool. Oh, do you just want to show it again, or I just wanted
Okay.
to? I didn't know. I saw you picking them up. Uh, and this is your illustrations on here.
Yes, yes. It also has inside illustrations.
Mm-hmm.
For example, this was done traditionally.
Oh wow, that is beautiful. That is beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow.
Just going to show another one.
Okay.
These are 2. Let's see. 2 villains.
Very nice. Wow, I like that a lot.
It was done in pencil
Yeah.
traditionally.
That's my
Yes.
favorite medium to work in.
Yeah.
Pencil. Um, it's actually was it? Oh, I don't have my Zorro piece on me, but uh, I was gonna show something, but
Mm.
let's see. Do I have them next to me here? Yeah, I had some of these for sale. I'll just
Oh, I know.
give you this.
I saw it
You
on
probably saw
Instagram.
what I'm talking about. Yeah, I had some of these for sale on at the show that I
Yeah,
did that Rich and Audrey put on, like a Mandrake the
great.
Magician here,
Mandrake.
and I just love pencils so much. Here's
Yes,
like a classic sci-fi kind of,
fantastic,
yeah. And all these,
fantastic.
and by the way, anybody interested, these will eventually become full color prints here. Here's like a little Conan Barbarian,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Do I have anything else really
Very
cool
cool.
to show? Um, I don't think so right now. Not worth it. Although one of my all-time favorite comic book characters, Solar, Man of the Atom. I don't know if you guys
I
know
don't
that.
know. I don't know that one.
It's been around since the 50s, I believe. He's had
Okay.
different interpretations. It's actually a pretty cool, like when you read the older stuff too. It's just out
Mhm.
there. It's fantastic stuff.
Okay.
Uh,
I have to look.
so,
I have to look it for.
but yeah, and getting back to the stuff though that you were doing here, and we were just looking at the Musketeers. You're
Mhm.
also a Robin Hood fan, which is
Yes.
in your bio. Now, is it just really swashbuckling characters you're into, or do you like other stuff?
Um, I like superheroes, but I have a thing for swashbucklers.
Okay.
Um, because I was influenced by my grandfather to see the movies from his generation, and the movies from his generation were like Captain Blood, The
Yeah.
Seahawk,
Yeah.
Adventures
Yeah.
of Robin Hood. So all those movies with Errol Flynn, Tyrone Power,
Love
all
those.
those old-fashioned swashbucklers that
Yeah. I like.
um,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no.
No, I was gonna say for me, I grew up like I said. My father introduced me to Zorro, introduced me to Lone Ranger.
Yes.
His brothers, we'd go visit, and we'd all get together. And for us over here, for anybody here in New York, WPIX back in like the '80s, and I think even in the '90s on Sundays would show like the old Tarzan
Mhm.
movies, and like
Great.
I loved all of that. And when you get up early morning on Saturday before cartoons started when I was a kid, there was a channel, and I forget which one it won. It might have been Bravo. I don't remember.
Mhm.
It was they would show the old movie serials, and I'd watch
Mhm.
like the old Buster Crab, Flash Gordons, and
Mhm.
I got to see like the Captain Marvel and Captain America and all that. So I mean, I grew up loving all
Yeah,
that stuff, but it's
I understand.
like superheroes and all that stuff. But um, books I read as a kid in addition to superheroes were things like Scrooge McDuck. So I'd read
Mhm.
I'd read all those, and those were adventure stories.
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't know if you read those growing up or anything, but when you look at them, like the old classic Mickey comic strips, they were adventure
Mhm.
stories. All those
Yes.
things are the type I love. Like I enjoy superheroes for the fantastic idea of them,
Mhm.
but I
Understand.
don't go insane for
Mhm.
superheroes as I do for more of those classic. If you I don't want to call them pulpy characters, but they could be pulpy characters. Um,
Yes.
and I go a little more crazy for those. I go crazy for the like Scrooge and stuff. I still read them. I
Good.
got
Yeah.
just to show you here. Um, I have a whoops shipwreck smaller. Like I just got this a couple of months back, you know,
Mhm. Yes.
and these are reprints of the Carl Barks stories, who was the creator of Scrooge, and
Mhm.
these are the stuff that influenced like the creation of Indiana Jones. It was things
Yes.
like this that
Yeah.
helped, and I'm
Yeah.
a big indie fan, and
I'm a
and all that.
big indie fan too. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and but that's the thing. Like I don't go nuts for superheroes. I like them,
Yeah.
but I like this stuff that we're talking about actually more. than superheroes.
I understand you. Yes.
So let's talk about this piece because I just want to, I can see your work, and I've worked in so many different fields. Even in education, and I've taught people how to create works like this.
Mm.
But because of the way you work, I can't tell sometimes what is what in your stuff here. So was this based off a painting, a photograph? Like how is this piece created? I think
Okay.
our audience would love this story.
Okay. I started as always with pencil and sketch and one blank sheet of paper, and I
Hmm.
sketched the idea, and then I worked the model. The girl was worked in 3D software.
Okay.
Then it was photo bashing for the background, and there are some parts that were painting, digitally painting. Um, the dress was digitally painted, and the bow is a 3D asset too.
Okay. Did you create the bow just out of curiosity, or was that a asset that was in the software?
No, that was an asset. Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Um, Now when you say you built her in 3D, um, were you digitally painted over her though, correct, with the skin
yes.
tone and the hair and stuff, or is that was that colored in the software?
The hair. I okay. She was treated in 3D, but the hair was added later. It was
Okay,
painted later.
okay, dude, because
Yeah.
that I think you did such a great job with that, and it's great. I also like how the bow is much more of a modern bow, but this
Mhm.
looks more classic. Like it's
Yes,
a like she's straight out of Sherwood, you know,
yes.
like classic Sherwood. But her bow is like a present day bow.
It's different.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
I like that
I
a
think
lot.
thank you. She's supposed to be an homage to Robin Hood. Maybe she is
Mhm.
his daughter or descendant from his family, from Loxley
Yeah.
family. Who knows?
Now, the characters you're talking at Zorro's not, but like we've talked about the Musketeers and we talked about Robin Hood just now. They're public domain. So,
Yes.
are you thinking of anything Robin Hood based, like you do with the Musketeers and writing a book, or are you just draw this stuff for fun?
This was for training, not for any specific story. But for Robin Hood, I used the legend of Robin Hood in the Musketeers book 3. In this
Okay.
one, in this book,
Hmm.
the hero goes to England, and
Okay.
there's a band of outlaws like Robin Hood's gang,
Hmm.
and they are going to help him to defeat the villains. There's here
Let me
an
give you the
illustration
let me give
that
you the screen. Hold on.
that resembles this illustration resembles Errol Flynn.
Hmm. Yeah, I could see that. Wow, man, awesome stuff.
And
Awesome.
this was to pay an homage to Robin Hood and to
Yeah.
other swashbucklers characters.
Yeah, very much like the for those who have never seen it, there is a two-part episode starring this Zorro where he goes to France and meets the descendants of the
Yeah.
Musketeers. It's in the last season, I believe, in season 4. Um,
Season two.
it's in season 2.
Yes,
I'll have to,
yes.
I'll have to look again. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. You may know Zorro better than me, but I thought it was the final season because season two. I
Yes,
don't want
yes.
to spoil anything for anyone, but just that I think it was season two. It wasn't the end of season one when they're at the castle for Victoria's
Yes,
father. Is that
yes, yes, yes.
season two or season one? I forget.
Season two.
Season
Yes,
two.
season two. Yes.
Okay. All right. All right.
Actually, I think the Musketeers are actually the final episodes.
Of season two.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna have to pull my DVD out.
Mm.
I also know some of it's on Tubi, so you can watch some of it on Tubi.
Mm.
But they don't have the whole series. Last I looked.
Uh,
So let's go to some more Zorro art like
mm.
this. This is gorgeous. Here, I love
This
the
is
thunder cracks and stuff here.
this is one of my favorites of the late artwork that I've done. This is one of my favorites because okay, to make a context of this, this was an illustration for Zorro and the Red Devil,
Okay.
which is a short story that is on the anthology and is written by Phil James Glenn, I think. Yes, Phil James Glenn.
Who's an awesome dude. I
And
just got to meet him at the Pulp Con.
mhm. And this is supposed to be the Pulp Zorro
Okay.
with the full mask.
Yeah.
And I tried to give him a more menacing look um, based on the Batman, based on Batman as the Dark Knight, something like that. I wanted to impart in this artwork some more aggressiveness and to make something different from the Zorro we know,
Yeah.
because it's the Pulp Zorro, is the original Zorro, and I try to do a more serious impersonation.
Yeah. I love it, man. Let's see the next one for that. So look at that. Look at
Yeah.
this. I love the reflection of Zorro and his
Mm.
sword here.
This is for the same short story.
Mhm.
Yes, he's fighting the Red Devil, who is a pirate.
Okay. Nice stuff here, right? And then the next one, M is for Moriarty. So this is based on the Antonio Banderas, obviously.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is for my short story that I've written for the anthology,
okay.
which is an homage to the '98 movie,
Yeah.
which is my favorite Zorro.
That's your favorite Zorro?
Yes.
Okay. Not many people have said that. That's why I'm curious about that.
Yes,
I know.
this.
Listen, I love it. I think it's a great film. I've
Yeah.
watched it over a dozen times. I can
Yes.
tell you that for sure. But I'm sorry. Continue.
Uh, yes, this is my because as I said, my first introduction to Zorro was the Duncan Regehr's version.
Yeah.
But what really got me into Zorro was this movie, the Antonio Banderas movie, and it was very special to me because okay, I became a fan of Zorro after watching this movie in theaters. I was about 10 years old. It was an amazing experience, and then I started to look for other Zorro versions, but it all started with this one.
That's great, man. I love hearing stories like that. Yeah, I mean, I think, God, this movie came out in '98, so I was 22 when this movie came out.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this in the theater and
Yeah.
just being there's very few movies that will like blow me away in the
Yes.
theater. This was one of them, mostly for the fight scenes. I thought it was one of the best choreographed sword
Mm,
fights I've
I agree.
seen in the movies.
I
And
agree.
I'm thrilled I got to see it on the big screen for that reason. Every other time I
Mhm.
watch it, on my home TV, I've watched it on my computer. I have three,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, I have three monitors. I have my Cintiq
Mm.
where I work on. I have my laptop, which is what I'm looking at when I talk to you guys, and I have another monitor which I usually put shows on while I work. So while I'm working, I have a movie or something on next to me, and that my third monitor is really just for watching shows. So now next we're coming up to a piece I really love that you sent. It's the Samurai Showdown.
Mm.
I am you know what it is about this piece for me specifically, it's how you did the fire and everything.
Right.
To fire I find difficult to render. Now I usually do very, like I said, cartoony stuff. I
Mhm.
don't want to put myself on the level of someone like a Calvin and Hobbes, like Bill Watterson. I don't think I will ever be on his level as a cartoonist, but like I tend to draw cartoony in the sense of like comic strip. So my
Mhm.
rendering
Understand.
of fire is just a couple
Yeah.
of squiggly lines.
Yes. Yes.
Whereas here, I can feel like I'm watching a samurai movie, you know?
Yes.
Um,
I try to base this as I base this in Kurosawa's work,
mhm.
and in samurai movies in general. I've always been a fan of. I don't know if you know this one, but it's called Rurouni Kenshin.
Can you say it
It's
again?
an anime. Rurouni Kenshin.
I'd have to see the picture. I tend to read more manga than I actually watch anime.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer
It's a manga.
I is it
Yes.
I'd have to see the work, but I just personally, although I do love watching it, I find I prefer the stories in manga than I do
Okay.
prefer, than watching
Right.
it. So
I understand. Understand.
yeah.
And this piece has a lot of it, a lot of that those characters of our imagery of samurai imagery. This is a showdown. In the beginning it doesn't it was not going to have fire, but then I said, I think it will work. It will work because I wanted um, to work the shadows, and the fire is propitious for that.
Yeah. Man, I'm looking at your stuff and I just got one question for you. Have you thought about teaching this to people? Like your methods and stuff. This is on the level of like, concept art and things that, you would use in like film, television, game production, things like that. These
Mm.
are I'm just curious, have you ever thought about using your skills to
Yeah,
help the younger generation?
I would love to. I would love to. I have that formation. I can teach, but I never got the chance to.
I recommend doing something like a Skillshare class or just putting up you making your own videos and putting them up on Gumroad or something. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
I don't know what sites, if they're different out there in Portugal than what I'm talking about here, but if you ever need help like recording this stuff, I can walk you through it. I've made
Thank you.
instructional videos before, so
Thank you.
I just think this stuff is phenomenal, man. And even though I don't work in this style and I understand how you do it, I would just love to watch you do your
Mhm.
work. I would love to just watch your process. You know,
Okay.
that
Yeah.
it's just this is just something personal to me, man. That's why I'm asking. Like one of the things I'll do when I'm on downtime on my personal work, I like to watch other artists' work. I'll
Mhm.
put on
Mhm.
YouTube videos of other
Yeah.
artists drawing or painting. Usually painting because I'm a terrible painter.
Mm.
Like I can paint, but not in oils. or really, I'm more of
Okay.
like gouache or watercolor artist.
Hmm.
Uh, with my cartooning background, I'm used to doing different types of washes, so I love my paints like really watered
Understand.
down. You know, but I'm really impressed by oil painters.
Hmm.
I could do acrylic okay, but like I love watching that. So being a fantasy artist fan, like a fan of fantasy artists, I'll look up fantasy artists just working, whether they're doing it digitally or traditionally. I just sit and watch the
Hmm.
process, and that's a good
Yeah.
time for me. And I think
Sometimes I do the same.
you
Yes, I
do the
also
same.
do the same. Yes,
Yeah,
it's a good way for to learn and
yeah,
to meet new artists. Yes,
yeah.
very very interesting.
Man, good stuff here, man. Another Zorro. Now this one obviously based off a 3D model that
Yes,
you painted over.
yes, yes. This
And
was
I'm sorry, can I just say this to
yes, of course.
the audience? This is the educator in me speaking. Don't think you're cheating if you're using a 3D model and you did not draw the character perfectly or whatever. 3D models are used constantly, whether it's just used as reference or like what Francisco's done and has painted over it. Um, it is a way. It's a way people work in the industry. Like I was talking about with concept art and stuff. I actually I don't know 3D well anymore. I actually used to know very little Maya, but I knew 3D Studio Max. If you guys know that
Mhm.
software, you might notice 3ds Max, and I knew that. Now my 3D skills are non-existent, and I use a free online software called Tinkercad, and I will build with just simple building blocks. uh, I built a house, using cubes and stuff, and rotating the cubes and things to build a house because I needed a house for a comic I was working on, and I hate perspective. So I just rotated it to the angle that I wanted and exported the scene, and I traced the house. And I'm going in and I'm putting details in of like how I want the roof to look and the doors to look, but the scene and the perspective is there. And I just traced this house that I built. So don't think this is cheating for all you young artists out there or artists at whatever level you're at. Use these tools to help you. And I sorry that's just my little teacher in me talking. Francisco, please continue.
I agree with everything. Yes, this piece was done based on the cartoon Zorro from 1997.
The 97. Okay.
Yes, yes, because it has that steampunk themes,
Yes,
and
yeah.
this is part of a series of concept arts that I did for training,
Mhm.
and this actually is my favorite, one of my favorite pieces that I've done for concept art.
Now, let me just
And
ask you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Before I ask my question, what were you going to say?
yes, and I wanted to do Zorro more vulnerable.
Hmm. I like it a lot, man. Let me ask you, just since you brought up the '97 cartoon, with that, being you were young when the show came out,
Yes,
was that your Zorro cartoon for like?
actually no, but I'm going to explain why.
Hmm.
Um, the 97 cartoon is very good, but
Hmm.
here in Portugal, um, the anime version was extremely popular in the 90s,
Okay.
and everyone of my generation knows that version of Zorro. It's
Okay.
extremely popular in Portugal. Even nowadays, a person of my age knows about that version of Zorro.
And
And
that's the one where he wears the white shirt.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Okay. I've never seen an episode, but I know
yeah.
of it.
It's interesting. And that was the Zorro. that was airing in the TV back
Okay.
on those days. The 1997 version also aired here in Portugal, but it was not as didn't have the reception as the other had. The other stayed in TV for 4-5 years. It was really very popular.
Interesting. Good to know. Because obviously, like I said, I was in my 20s when that Zorro cartoon came out. I,
Yeah.
I didn't watch it regularly,
Mhm.
although I did love the theme song to it. My
Yeah.
Zorro cartoon, I grew up with with the old Filmation Zorro that they
Fantastic.
made. Yeah, that's which is kind of based on the Disney's,
Yes.
Guy Williams Zorro.
Yeah.
And then there was also a Zorro, a future Zorro. I can't remember the name of it, but when I was in the Generation
Generation
Z,
Z. Yes.
right? Yeah. When I was it was when I was in the 90s, I was in high school and Generation Z came out. I didn't get into that one too much either.
No,
Uh,
I didn't get in that one too much either.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're coming up to one of my all-time favorite pieces you sent me. Your
Yeah.
Conan piece.
Go on.
This to me, again, all the stuff that I love. I'm a big Conan fan of the movies, of everything. Even the cartoon, if you guys want to believe that.
Hmm.
And there was a cheesy series in the late '90s, early 2000s, like when like the Hercules and Xena were popular. They were making all these shows, and they
Yeah.
took this bodybuilder. I can't remember his name. He went on to act in other things. Um, and he had, I think, a heavy like German accent or something. Like it was
Hmm.
somewhere, but this dude was just huge, and it was one of the worst TV series on the planet. But I love it for the cheese. It's just such a cheesy show. I was watching it a few weeks ago on, I believe, on Tubi. They had it, and I just started watching it again, and my wife was making fun of me, like, "How can you sit and watch it?" But it was just so great. But I love Conan. This is a Conan piece. And I know you said this was actually digital. I thought this was pen and ink, but you did it digitally, in
That
a
was
pen, with a pen and ink style.
yes.
Uh,
Yes. Yes.
just talk about this piece because I really
Okay.
love it.
Yeah. This okay. This was made in 2019.
And just
Uh,
curious, this Photoshop or
no,
this
this
is
was
a
painted
no? Oh, no, you said you said you did this digitally though, or
digitally. Yes. Yes. Digital
yeah? No, I'm saying
painting. Yeah.
what software did you use?
Photoshop.
Oh, Photoshop. Okay, yeah, that's what I
Yes.
thought. Okay,
Yes.
go
Yes. And back then there was a publishing house that was about to publish a book with short stories of Conan, and they made national illustration contest. And when I found out, I tried to okay. I did this piece, and I sent to them to participate. I didn't know if I was going to win. I did it for fun,
ahead.
and I sent to them. And later, I received an email telling me that I won the contest.
Well, congratulations, and I can see why. But
And the story is called Shadows in Zambula.
Shadows in Zambula.
Yes.
Wow. I love it, and one of the things I love is this right up here. This tower looks like
Mm-hmm.
his sword.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love that you got that there. This is great. Let's see. Do we got any more? I think we got a couple of Zorro pieces left to look
Mm-hmm.
at. Um, this is another cover you did, I assume.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, I know I'm in the Zorro book with the other cover, which is this one here, and is
Mm-hmm.
great. But I think I might just be partial. I think this one's just, I don't know. I don't know. I think I like this one a little more just design
Yeah,
wise. You know,
yeah,
I think it's
yeah.
a cool composition.
This one, I think it's more popular.
Hmm.
Yes, this one is more popular.
And was this
This
done
is
the same way with painting and then?
No, this was different. This was done. Okay, I began with the sketch, but then I didn't use nothing traditional. It was all digital.
This is digital.
Yes,
My
all.
God.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's all digital.
you need to make instructional videos, and I want to take your class. It's just, uh, I'm the problem with me is that I'm colorblind, so I have trouble
Mm.
digitally painting.
Ah,
That's
understand.
my issue. Um,
Yeah.
I can color, comic book style. I can color,
Mm-hmm.
you know, animated, cell shaded style, which I tend to do more. Um, but to blend like you blend, I can't do just because I feel it of my color blindness. And
Oh,
this
I
is,
understand.
jeez, man. I mean, and this is based on the Guy Williams.
Yes, yes, because the story is Zorro and the Irish Colonel, and it's a Walt Disney story.
Yeah.
So he had to be Guy Williams.
Hmm. And I'm forgetting the actor's name, but that's the old coming up.
Brit Lemon,
Yeah.
Captain Monasterio.
Yes. Oh,
Yes, he also is a major character in this book.
it's beautiful.
In this one was a challenge to do because it has more characters than I used to paint in a cover.
Hmm.
But for this one, it was essentially that they were all in the composition.
Oh, we got a. Oh, sorry. Never mind. I thought I had a comment. Um, this is just gorgeous, man. I'm just gonna keep. That's all I'm gonna say is I'm gonna keep looking at this stuff and being like, man, look at this. And I wasn't zooming in before, but let's just
Yeah.
zoom in on this. And you're using Photoshop.
Yes.
And
And
I'm never one of those people who say what brushes are you using because I know
mm,
you're going to create different textures. I never, but I'm
yes.
just looking at. My only question is, and it's not, and it because I'm looking at this. Did you throw a canvas texture down on here to give it that canvas look or is this the brush? That's all I'm asking about. I don't
It's the
care
brush.
the
Not
brush
not
you use.
not. Yes, it's brush. Yes, yes.
No, because as I look around, I feel like I'm looking at canvas, and I know there are some people who put canvas texture
No,
down,
no.
or they kind of just
Yes.
take a giant brush and they kind of paint
Yeah.
out a texture. But
No,
you didn't
in
do
this
that,
case, it was the brush. Yes, was the brush.
dude. This is phenomenal. And the way he did his hair and mustache,
Mm.
and the way you capture it, the look of these people. I mean, that looks just like him.
Mhm. For this
Damn.
one, I studied a lot of Drew Struzan works.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was, I was actually going to ask you when we were done and looked at the last image. Are you a Drew Struzan fan?
Yes, yes.
And do you? I don't know where it is. I think it's up there. Do you have his book? That Hold on one
No,
second.
I
I got.
don't.
Let me take my headsets off. Let me grab the
Yes,
book.
yes.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Just let me get this pillow back behind my back here. Sorry. I spend so much time in this chair. I need something back here. But like, he's got this book right here. Have you ever seen this
Oh
book? The
yes, I
Art
know,
of
I know.
Drusen. This book is phenomenal because it gives you not just a look at his work. I'm just going to give myself the screen first because anyone who is a fan of like film and I'm sure you're a fan of these. You've seen all his work.
Yes.
Let me just give myself the screen. But you get to see like almost like process photos of
Mhm.
iterations and things of how he created these pieces. Here the Flintstones when he did the Flintstones, which I a movie I really enjoyed. He did all these covers, but I mean all the Star
Fantastic.
Wars, all the Indiana Jones, all the whatever you name it. He did all these great posters, and um, I remember watching an interview, or I heard it from a friend of his. His working method is he just doesn't work in one medium. He tends to mix different, it could be oils, and then he throws colored pencil on top, and then he can go with, oh, I need a marker. So like he'll
Yeah.
use chalk, he'll use whatever gets the job um, gets the job done.
Mhm.
So
Yes, it's
uh,
very interesting.
yeah.
Actually, for doing the eyes, Zorro eyes, I
Mhm.
look upon his works.
Mhm.
I was studying how he did the eyes in his works, and I did the Guy Williams eyes like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it looks great. Looks great. But your composition, your stuff, it does remind me somewhat of Drew Struzan, and that's why I was gonna ask you. I was gonna
Yeah.
save that to the end. Um, and then here's the piece that you did without all the text and everything. I know Zorro owns this. The Zorro Productions owns this.
Yes. Yes.
But if anyone from Zorro Productions is watching, I think this needs to be made into a poster. I'm just letting you guys know that now. Same with this. This piece is great as well. Um, I think you know this as a poster or just a print would be fantastic. Like a postcard size even. You
Yes.
know, this.
Actually,
Yeah.
Actually, there's did not for this one, but there's a poster that I did for the Guy Williams show.
Hmm.
That is for sale.
Really?
It's in the same style. Can I show?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely. Let me give you the screen. Whoops, wrong monitor. Let me hold on. I'm going to give you the screen here. Oh wow, my God. Now that's a like a print you made. That's not the original, obviously.
This is a print, but
Hmm.
it's officially by Zorro Productions.
Oh wow. And how much is the print for? How much is it selling
Um, it depends because it's on Redbubble.
on Redbubble?
Yes, it's
Is
the
it
only.
is it in your store? Like you have personally your own Redbubble store, or is it a Zorro
Yes.
Productions store?
No, I have in my own store.
Okay. All right. I will have to take a look at Redbubble, guys, and see your stuff. Um, and by the way, you guys, if you type in Francisco Silva, I think it's dot art, right? That's your
Yes,
Instagram account,
yes. Dot art.
Francisco
Yes.
Silva dot art. And will you have a link to your Redbubble on that?
Yes, yes, it's there in
Okay,
print. Yes.
dude, that's awesome, man. I am such a huge fan. Um, I'll also be smarter if I knew what screen I was looking at. um, but yeah, I mean, this stuff, unbelievable. And what are you currently working on now that
Okay.
that you could talk about?
Now I'm taking a break in illustration
Okay.
uh, because I have opened my own publishing house here in Portugal, and
Congratulations on
I
that.
thank you very much. And I've been very busy with all the bureaucracy and with the publishing and the books. So, but I intend to return to the illustrations very soon, very soon.
That's great, man. What's the name of your publishing house so we can, if we see books, buy it?
It's called Intelectual Editora.
Intellectual.
Intellectual. Intellectual.
Okay. All right.
And
I look
the website is going to air tomorrow.
awesome. Send me a link tomorrow,
Okay.
and I'll make
Okay.
sure to share it on my social media for people to check
Okay.
out. Now, are you going to have
Okay.
books in English so I can read it, or is it all going to
Um,
be?
for now, it will be only in Portuguese
Yeah.
because it's a Portuguese publishing house. But I intend to have books in English, of course.
Okay. Well, I plan to. I will share your link.
Thank
Um,
you.
and I'm looking forward to seeing what you put out. Trying to think if I have any other questions. I mean, I'm sure I can sit and just talk with you about art for a while, but I think I want to have you on again. I think I'm going to save it for another show, and I want
Okay.
to have you
Okay.
on again in the new year. We'll wait a while, bring you back, and we're going to talk about
Okay.
some other stuff. Um, and I'll run it by you what I want to chat about with you
Okay.
another time, so we can surprise and have a cool show for the audience. So, in the meantime, um, I think we're going to wrap up. Is there anything you'd like to, let the audience know before we wrap it up?
Uh, Thank you for watching, and you, Michael. Thank you for the invitation. I really
Okay.
appreciate, and it was amazing to talking to you and to share art. As I said, your contribution for this new anthology was fantastic. I think
Thank
it
you. I
was
appreciate
a fresh of new air, and it makes the difference.
it. Thank you.
As an artist, I think we have a very interesting group of artists.
Hmm.
Everyone with his own special technique, his own style,
Yeah.
and you brought us your style.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we had, what is it? It says 17 new stories. I forget how many
Yeah,
artists we had and writers. Well, actually 17. Well, some people I think wrote multiple, but let's say 17 writers, and we've had to have multiple artists, I guess, on there.
yes,
I mean, I know I got to do two stories, and I looked through this book. I'm not gonna lie, at least 3 4 times a week. I haven't finished reading it, but it's always because I just love looking at the artwork. And dropped the book for a second. The artwork in here is gorgeous, and I'm not talking about my stuff because as I think as you'll know as an artist, we always see our mistakes, you know. So although I did open to the page of my stuff on here, and this is the one page I really do enjoy. Uh,
yes.
I like
I
this.
yes.
How big?
There's another one that I like that I'm going to show you.
Okay.
I have the book here,
Yep.
but there's not. I like that one, but there's another one that I really love.
I'm excited for this here.
This one.
Oh, thank you. I like
I
that.
think
I
it's
enjoy that.
fantastic.
Thank
Fantastic.
you.
This one.
Thank you. I'm not going to
Love it.
break what the story's about, that not to ruin it for people. I had a lot of fun with that piece, but you'll see Zorro is struggling in that sword fight. Um, and and if you look at the guy, I base the villain that he's fighting off the guy from the Antonio Banderas movie. He's kind of dressed like
The
him.
Don Rafael.
Yeah, it's not Don Rafael. I will say that,
Yes, yes,
but I based it off of Don Rafael.
yes, yes.
So
Fantastic work.
thank you. I appreciate that. You know, coming from you, that really is a compliment, man. Anyway, thank you again for coming. I'm going to drop you backstage if you don't mind hanging out for a few minutes.
Okay, okay.
Awesome. All right. Thanks again for coming on.
Thank you.
Backstage here. Now, everybody, first off, as you guys normally know, I'm going to do a closing, but I want to let you guys know that starting in 2023, I am bringing back my comic strip, The Wiz. So, for those who did not know about The Wiz is just a traditional comic strip. It runs on Instagram and Facebook. It's at The Wiz Comics, so WIZ. So, um, I'll leave this up for a moment if you want to shoot your phone to the screen. There's my QR code. I will get this available to you guys as a free download. This is my newest sampler, and there is a free Wiz paper figure that you can cut out and fold and use and have fun with. But he will be coming back more than likely starting in February as a weekly strip, and by the end of 2023, I'm hoping to bring him up to twice a week. So I wanted to make everybody aware of that. Thank you guys for checking it out at the Wiz Comic on Facebook and Instagram. And there will be stuff on my personal TikTok. If you look up my name, I'm going to be doing some stuff with them. So anyway, guys, I want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks, Francisco, for coming on because I had a lot of fun looking at your work, talking about it, and learning more about you. Dude, it's you're a fantastic artist. I love to see what you're. Can't wait to see what you're doing next. And everybody watching, you know what? I'm gonna have another show next week. I already have some good people coming on. It's gonna be multiple, uh, but I'm waiting to finalize a few of the people. But I really think you guys are going to like it. I'm going to have some really great artists on. We're going to talk about some comics, Kickstarter. It's going to be great. So anyway, guys, until next week, enjoy your day, your night, whatever you're watching. All right, have a great weekend. Oh, and for those in the Bronx area, on this Saturday from 10 to I believe 4, there is the Bronx Arctic Con. I will be there sharing a table with my buddy Ray Felix. I will have some Wiz samplers. I will have some Wiz prints. I will have, if it's time for the Christmas holidays coming up. If you need a greeting card, I have some that I've illustrated. Sample is I just got one sampler here, but this is something that I was selling a while back. It's blank interiors. I will have a bunch of these and a few other styles. So I will have that at the show, along with these beautiful stocking stuffers here. So make sure you head to the Bronx Arctic Con this Saturday, December 10th. No, is it the 10th? Probably. Or 9th? Oh, what's today? Today's the 7th. So, yeah, December 10th. I'll see you guys there. All right. Check it out, Bronx Arctic Con. I'll be there sharing a table with Ray Felix. You guys have a great rest of your day and week and whenever. I'll see you later.